Greetings and welcome to What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility. I am your host, Pete Pardo. Today is Monday, July the 27th, and we're here for another installment of our weekly series bringing you the best in heavy metal, progressive rock, jazz fusion, classic rock, hard rock, you name it, we got it. We are featuring today the latest from Symphony X. It's called Underworld. It's their 9th studio album, and it's a doozy. Out now on Nuclear Blast Records. Just came out last week, actually. Very cool artwork here. It's not a radical departure for Symphony X. I mean, this is, if you've been following the band all these years, they're one of the best melodic progressive metal / power metal / neoclassical metal bands that have been around for like the last close to 20 years now. And, if you like their latest album, which follows up a few very, very strong ones, some of my favorites in the band, actually. If you like the real heavy material of the last couple of albums mixed with that more progressive style and the neoclassical style of their earlier and mid-period albums, this new one, Underworld, kind of has a little bit of everything. It's got the shredding guitar solos. You can hear Michael Romeo going off in the background here. It's got those killer riffs. I mean, he's just like the riff man these days. It's got great keyboards from Michael Pinella. Amazing rhythm section, and of course, Russell Allen on vocals. And he pulls out all the stops on this. Probably, I'm going to go out on a limb saying this might be his best vocal performance ever. I mean, it's just really, really great. If you really like his soaring melodic style, there's a lot of that here. It's probably vocally, this is not the most aggressive Symphony X album. I think the last two were probably a little heavier as far as the vocals go, but he's just off the charts great on here. So, I just want to take a look at some of this amazing artwork that's here. You gotta love it to buy a CD, and it's got, not only great tunes, and it's got lyrics, but you got all this great, very cool artwork. I mean, expect nothing less from these guys. They've been away from the scene for a few years. I think it's their first album. I think it's been 4 years since the last one. And there the boys are right there. So anyway, it's called Underworld. It's out now on Nuclear Blast Records. I don't know. For me, this is a 5 out of 5 star CD. I love it. I love the band. But there's just some great tunes on here. The title track is killer. Without You is a really strong ballad. And then there's some barn burners on here like Kiss of Fire and Charon, which is probably my favorite. Legend is the finale on here. It's just super. Swan Song is great. Every song is really strong in here. So, if you've always loved the band, they don't disappoint here. It follows a similar path to their last couple, Iconoclast and Paradise Lost. I mean, I don't know. They've just put out one album after another. It's just been absolutely killer. And this continues. Is this their best ever? I'll leave that up for you to decide. It's definitely up there as far as I'm concerned. I've only had this a few days. So, Iconoclast. I'm sorry, no. Underworld. Iconoclast was go and check this one out. It's mandatory if you're a progressive metal fan. All right, another brand new release, hot off the presses. Guitar legend Joe Satriani, Shockwave Supernova. Pretty damn good. What's not to love about Satch? I mean, he's just been putting out great releases of memorable instrumental guitar music since the mid-late 80s. And, his last few haven't really done a hell of a lot for me. I did like the work he did with Chickenfoot, the supergroup with Sammy Hagar, Michael Anthony, and Chad Smith. Some of the solo albums he kind of released throughout the Chickenfoot era. It didn't really do very experimental, kind of experiment with some different sounds and whatnot. I really like Joe when he's creating lyrical, melodic songs that have, hooks. And for instrumental music, it's kind of hard to put together the songs that have hooks and memorable melodies. But he's generally pretty good at that. Kind of got away from it for a while, but he's back to doing that on here. There's lots of shredding, but more importantly, there's a lot of really memorable tunes. There's a couple of bluesy tunes on here. So if you really like his lyrical guitar style, mixed with some very wild guitar acrobatics, it kind of does it all on here. I like it. I dig it. If you love Satch, probably your cat. All right, let's move over to Prague. If you think legendary progressive rock guitar players from the last 40, 45 years or so, I'm sure a number come to mind. Steve Howe, Robert Fripp. Probably know where I'm going next. That's right, Steve Hackett, former Genesis guitarist. Wolflight is his latest for Inside Out. Really, really good. Over the last couple of years, he's been doing that Genesis revisited thing and going back and revisiting some old Genesis classics from his time in the band. And he's back doing a regular solo thing now here, and I love it. It's probably one of the strongest things in years. It's kind of everything you love about Hackett. He's got these beautiful acoustic pieces. He's got some very energetic electric compositions. He's just gotten so much better as a guitar player here. He was always incredible, but there's some really technical playing on here, some beautiful playing on here. The songs are strong, the vocal pieces are outstanding. It's progressive, it's got some world flavors, it's got some fusion, got some classical, a little bit of everything. I dig it a lot. This is a 2-disc set. It's got a Blu-ray with some fun stuff on it. So, Wolflight, very, very good. He's going on tour this fall, so make sure if you live in the U.S. that you go out and catch Mr. Hackett at a venue near you. I'm going to jump over to symphonic atmospheric black metal / melodic death metal, whatever you want to call it. Ascending Hate, the latest from Graveworm from Italy. These guys have been around for quite a while. They've had some, what I would say, potentially classic albums, especially their mid-period albums are very, very strong. They do a really good job of that kind of like atmospheric symphonic black metal style. The last couple albums, they've kind of been mixing some melodic death metal into their formula a little bit. So you can expect a bit of that. Pretty strong, screeching, growling vocals, some nice keyboards, chugging guitar riffs, manic rhythms, some catchy tunes on here. Personally, for me, there's a little bit too much of the mellow death stuff going on here. And the reason why they say too much is because there's so many bands doing that nowadays. And when Graveworm kind of gravitate towards that style, they kind of sound like everybody else. It's not bad by any means, very good. But I like when they kind of settle back and they layer in those keyboards and those black metal vocals come out and you get the atmosphere and the heaviness. And that's what I really like from this band. So I would say about half of this is in that style. Some great tunes on here. There's some decent songs on here. Overall, it's a very solid collection of tunes from Graveworm. So if you've been following them, I think you'll kind of dig this. I think it's a little bit stronger than their last two, actually. But again, you be the judge. Graveworm, solid. I'm going to go to the Netherlands now, and a band that kind of came out of nowhere. This just showed up in my mailbox one day. It's a young band called Armed Cloud. It's called Obsidian Desert. Progressive band. A little bit of progressive metal. I mean, look at that cover artwork. What does that remind you of? I don't know. For me, it's kind of like I see a little bit of old Fish Era Marillion here, some old Dream Theater, maybe a little bit of the UK's Magnum, the great artwork from early in their career. Rodney Matthews, whatnot. So anyway, great cover art. This caught me right off the bat. I was like, wow, I bet you the music's pretty damn exciting. It actually is. If you can imagine kind of a cross between early Dream Theater, a little bit of Fate's Warning, some definite modern-day Rush. The vocalist sounds a lot like Geddy Lee. And, maybe a little smattering of IQ or, some neo-prog like that, or Arena. Really memorable tunes. It's not overly heavy. It is in spots. Some of the tunes are pretty cranking. Some great guitar work, fantastic keyboard work. The vocals are really, really strong. Like it a lot. And most of the tunes are fairly catchy. There's not a lot of really, really, really epic stuff on here. So don't go looking for like 20-minute tunes and stuff like that. But most of them fall into the 5 to 10 minute range. Very strong. This is a young band who have a bright future ahead of them if they keep it going. So again, if you're a prog metal fan, Armed Cloud is the name of the band. Be on the lookout for that. We're going to come back to the USA. We're going to go over to thrash metal. This is a band called Deathblow. It's their new EP called The Other Side of Darkness. Like I said, they are from Salt Lake City. And this is really impressive. This is not, there's a lot of metal bands on the scene, young metal bands on the scene now who are doing the whole retro thrash thing. A lot of them are really good, okay, but a lot of them are really slick. They're going for that Metallica meets Megadeth sound, and while they're very talented, a lot of good bands out there putting out some good albums. This is like got that underground feel. You remember the first time you heard Dark Angel, or Blind Illusion, or Possessed? You know, even that early, the first Exodus album. That's this, folks. I mean, heavy riffs, manic double bass drumming, rough vocals, some shredding solos, but it's got that underground, raw, primal feel to it. And the tunes are very memorable. There's only 5 tunes on here, but I like this a lot. This is a band that I hope they get signed by one of the major metal labels, because I think they can do a lot with these guys. They're all young, and this is just really good. Again, it's not overly polished, it's not slick and expertly produced and whatnot, but it's a good thing it wasn't. It's good just the way it is. So I'm hoping we see like a full length of these guys in the near future. Pretty cool cover art too, It's got like 86 written all over it, So anyway, the band's called Deathblow. It's The Other Side of Darkness. Check them out on Facebook and their website, and I would definitely look into this and pick yourself up a copy. You won't regret it if you're a fan of like vintage things. All right, we're going to kind of move over to classic rock a little bit here, or southern rock. This is the Royal Southern Brotherhood. It's called Don't Look Back, Muscle Shoals section. If you don't know anything about the Royal Southern Brotherhood, I've only actually just been introduced to them recently. They are sort of a supergroup of southern rock and blues rock and R&B and funk musicians and vocalists. Cyril Neville is one of the lead singers. Previously, Devin Allman, who is the guitarist, vocalist, son of Graveworm from the Allman Brothers band. Also, Mike Zito was in the band. Really hot blues rock guitar player. Recently, and a bunch of other, Rico Scott, the drummer, a couple other folks on board. Allman and Zito recently left the band. They put out a couple albums previously before they split, late in 2014, I believe. So this is their first album with a revamped lineup. It's quite good. If you like modern southern rock, it's very melodic, catchy tunes. It's a good mix of like blues rock, southern rock, so you get some rip and slide guitar, that whole kind of rootsy vibe. Plenty of blues on here, a little bit of jazz, a lot of funk, a bit of pop, some R&B and gospel. It's just a really strong, fun album. A lot of memorable tunes. I think you'll dig this if you like that kind of style. I recommend their 2 previous albums as well. Really strong. It's a shame they couldn't keep the whole initial supergroup together. Allman is busy doing his own solo thing now, so and he's a real talented guy. But I like this. They've continued on with a new lineup. It's very good. A lot of cool players on here, so investigate that one. How about some jazz fusion? Sure, why not? How about from a legend? Sure, why not? We've got all sorts of great guitar players we're talking about here on today's show. This is the latest from DiMeola. It's called Elysium. And, Al's out on the road kind of celebrating the anniversary of the Elegant Gypsy album, so he's kind of doing a mostly electric tour, revisiting some of those old electric fusion tunes he did back in the 70s. And this new album is kind of a mixing of that along with some of the more acoustic, flamenco jazz that he's been doing for quite a bit now. So if you love DiMeola's guitar style, his compositional skills, it's all on display here. Some really lovely songs in here. His playing is impeccable, whether he's on electric or acoustic. And I like it a lot. It's good to see that he's just still out there doing what he does best. And, one of our musical treasures. He's been one of my favorite players for as long as I can remember. So check into that. Now, so this past weekend, I happened to venture down with my wife to Atlantic City, New Jersey, to the Truck Taj Mahal to see, you guessed it, Whitesnake. They're doing the Purple Tour, and it was great. I mean, I've seen Whitesnake a handful of times, and they never failed to just put on a great show. Basically, they played, I believe it was 5 Deep Purple songs, and all the rest classic Whitesnake tunes. It was a great set, and the new band with Joel Hoekstra on co-lead guitar with Red Beach is red hot. Coverdale sounded great. I know a lot of people are out there saying that his voice is shot and whatnot, and I've seen him live a couple times over the last bunch of years. And granted, he doesn't sound as good as he did in the 70s or the 80s. He's in his mid-60s. It's not going to be the case. But he still can hold his own. He sounded really good the other night. So I'm happy to report that if you haven't yet seen Whitesnake tour and you got tickets, you're going to be in for a surprisingly very, very good time. So, you know, look out. You're going to hear Youthful No One and Burn, and You Keep On Moving, and The Gypsy, and Mistreated, which is a showstopper, as well as, you know, the favorites like Slide It In, Here I Go Again, Is This Love, Still the Night, and a couple other surprises from the classic Whitesnake repertoire. So in honor of that, for our last segment of the day, we're going to do our forgotten favorites, and I'm going to pull a real gem from the Whitesnake back catalog. It's called Saints and Sinners. This is, you know, basically before they really, really hit it big. They were still kind of finding their way after the breakup of Deep Purple, and you know, Mr. Coverdale was just busy putting together a couple different lineups to see what really stuck. And you know, this one actually has some classic tunes on it. And in fact, you know, early versions of songs we would get to know much better later on. So you've got the early version of Crying in the Rain on here, as well as Here I Go Again in its initial form. But, you know, better yet, some classic tunes like Young Blood, Rough and Ready, Bloody Luxury, which I love, Dancing Girls, Rock and Roll Angels, Saints and Sinners, you know, Love and Affection. A lot of really good bluesy, heavy rock, as only Whitesnake could do early in their career. You know, they kind of morphed their sound a little bit. As they got into the 80s, they got a little bit more metallic, a little heavier. But a lot of folks really still love and treasure that early blues rock stuff, style that Whitesnake kind of incorporated back in the late 70s and early 80s. So that's our forgotten favorites for today. Saints and Sinners from the mighty Whitesnake. Go check them out on tour. You will not be disappointed. For that, I'm going to leave you for another week. This is Pete Pardo with What's Hot at Sea and Tranquility. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're also on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. And we're obviously here on YouTube each and every week, bringing you the best in heavy metal, progressive rock, jazz fusion, classic rock, hard rock, whatever else we can squeeze in that's relevant. You got it. So see you next week. Check out some of this great new music. Go back and revisit some of your old favorites. And we'll see you next time on What's Hot at Sea.